Awaken to hair growth. Awaken to hair growth because there is possibility to get your hair back. Awaken to hair growth because we're not told that we're able to conquer and overcome alopecia. Awaken to hair growth because I want to be a positive light and beacon for you because I've healed my alopecia and now I help others do the same with different types of alopecia, men, women, children of all ages, of all races and ethnicities. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alopecia Angel podcast. I am your host, Johanna Dahlman, and today you find me in a hotel. I am in between two conferences. I'm really excited about the second one. The first one was spectacular, and the second one is going to be amazing as well. And today we will be talking about seasonal hair loss and how this can affect you and what to do about it. But before I go into that, I wanted to give you an update on my charity. I'm starting the website and all these other parts to it. And I'm really excited about the charity because the mission is going to be helping those to get the healing and get the reversal that they need without having to have any extra cost to them. I don't want cost to be a barrier. And so this is part of the reason why I'm starting this charity, to inform, to educate, to bring awareness, but then also to allow people to have that choice. Hey, money is not everything, and you can heal regardless of your situation and regardless of where you live, because this charity will be open internationally for everyone. So really excited. Just wanted to give you a quick update on that. I'm full steam ahead with this project. And if any of you have any charity experience or have any volunteer experience and want to help out, reach out, and I'd love to work with you. So thank you so much for that. So let's get into today's topic of seasonal hair loss. So I've heard a lot about this. I've seen a lot about this and read a lot as well. And really the situation lies in, let's say you go to your doctor and you're like, hey, I'm seeing my pattern of seasonal hair loss. It's August again, or it's September again, or it's June, or what month it is for you. And you get to see this pattern of a yearly shedding, maybe a lot more shedding than what you're used to. And doctors don't have a clue as to why. And they'll say, oh, it's genetics or it's your age. And I hear this way too often. And the other side of this, may say, okay, it's the cycle of the hair. And more than likely, because you're going into these months, whether it's colder or warmer, or maybe it's just the season, that this is why you're seeing the hair loss, right? That's what mainstream media says. That's what mainstream doctors say. And, to an extent, they can have some credibility there and say, just like allergies, right? Or just like the rainfall or snow, it's the season of hair loss. Personally, I would have to argue against that and say, no, there doesn't have to be a season of shedding or immense shedding. There doesn't have to be a vicious cycle. There doesn't have to be this pattern of seeing shedding happen once a year, twice a year, or every so often, or however often that you see it, whether it is seasonal or not. Because the season may look different for all of us, right? For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand, that's going to look different to our seasons here in North America, right? So what I can say is that you can choose to believe that, right? You can choose to believe that it's your age, that it's a seasonal thing, that there's nothing you can do, that it's your genetics, and that you're stuck in this situation. And what I would really want to encourage you to believe is that yes, you can stop the patterns, and yes, you can stop the cycles of hair loss and create more hair growth. And I say this having had autoimmune alopecia, having healed it. And I also say this as somebody in my 40s who's had a pregnancy at 40, who's gone on to do many things, and life happens, right? Whether it's stress or anything else, it happens. And yet I continue to see the hair growth. I continue to grow an inch a month on a consistent level. And I say this also because I can track it with my highlights. And so this is the thing that you don't want to give your power away and you want to take it back. And this is what I can tell you. I always want to argue against what mainstream says, because mainstream wants you in a down in the dumps situation, because then you'll start reaching out for the minoxidils and the Rogaines and the serums and the lotions and the potions and the medications and these things. And none of those things work long term. Going through this, you can gauge on how things are going and start asking yourself these questions. Is my hair getting thicker? Is it shedding more? How much more? Is it shedding less? How much less? What's normal to me? Engaging and comparing it to your current situation, to your previous situation. Only you know, and you can define that. So I can show you a picture of a wad of hair, and maybe that's too little hair loss, or maybe it's too much hair loss. And we're all going to look a little different. But this is where you could start journaling and start to gauge and see where these patterns are coming from and what this looks like in terms of your hair shed. And mind the fact that you may want to look at other aspects too of this. The other thing I would say is that sometimes we just give up, right? And we give up hope that we are not included in the possible pool of people for hope, for hair growth, for health, for anything else. I would again argue against that to say, hey, let's get off the sad train and come along with me on the fast train towards hair growth, because age is not a factor. I'm telling you this right now. Age is not a factor. I have ladies in their 80s doing my program, seeing hair growth. Your genetics do not hold all the keys to your destiny. And you can also stop the cycles. And so now you're asking me, how can I do this? How can I get this going? And I would say that you would need a insightful, in-depth evaluation and a customized program. And we do that for you inside the Hair and Heal program. This is not just a sales pitch. This is the truth, because without that insightful, in-depth evaluation, you're never going to see your blind spots. So last week, we just had the closing of our opening new cohort of people coming into our program. Right now, I'm reviewing all their intake forms, I'm returning them and giving them back to them. And they're already responding back with, oh my gosh, this is so insightful. I'm seeing multiple doctors at the same time I'm doing your program, and none of them are saying what you're saying. None of them are allowing me to see these blind spots or these things that are holding us back. And that's the key. That's really the key. You need somebody to look and say, you've got spinach in your teeth, and you've got this, and you've got that, and this is how we can help you, and this is how we can get that out. And so the thing is, you're never going to know. You're going to keep tripping on your same situation until it gets better. So for example, let's use this as comparison to allergies. So I'm sure all of you know somebody who has seasonal allergies. They usually happen in spring, right? They may happen in the fall. They may happen during the summer. Who knows? But at the same time, most people reach for some sort of over-the-counter drug or prescription for their allergies. Does it help? Maybe. Does it help 100%? Probably not. And if you've been years on allergy meds, at some point it's just going to stop working and maybe being less and less effective. And so this situation can be harnessed by seeing maybe there's a bigger why as to why you're actually having the allergies, as to why you're having these symptoms and situations happen year after year. And we could also determine and navigate those waters so that you can see the results that you're looking for. In this case, it's less hair shedding, more hair growth. We don't all have to be in a cycle of hair loss permanently, or which may seem to be seasonal or maybe long-term, like post-COVID. It doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't. And it really is that easy. Going back to this new class of seeing their blind spots, them understanding where they're going wrong. And this is after them seeing multiple doctors, seeing current doctors, and still not getting any results. And only now are they getting the answers and the understanding of where they're going wrong. Getting this evaluation is worth gold. I would have paid anything for it had this been available during my alopecia situation, because with answers and knowledge, you can stop the cycles. With answers and knowledge, you can fast track to more and more hair growth, regardless of the age, regardless of your genetics, regardless of your situation. You can overcome this in less time. I say this because I've never had allergies in my life. I've lived in 4 different continents, and I've traveled to over 65 different countries, and I've never had allergies in my life. I've chosen to move back to the US, and in this city, lo and behold, I'm getting allergies, and it's never been a thing for me ever in my life. It's the second spring, first time ever in my life I got it. And maybe it was a fluke. Maybe it was like an El Nino situation where it's like once every so many decades or years. I will say is I saw what was happening. I changed up some things, and lo and behold, the allergies were gone. And so that's the power of knowing, okay, this is happening. Let's change up some things. And then boom, we're seeing the results we want. So the nasal drip gone, the watery eyes gone, the sneezing gone, and all these things gone. Just like that, just like with 1 or 2 or 3 minor changes. And that's just it. For some of you, it is minor changes. For some of you, it's a little bit more, but it just all depends because we are all so different. So the other thing I would say is that we're all very familiar with seasonal allergies. We're all very familiar with seasonal depression, but you don't have to go through this, right? it's all an option. Just like you have seasonal depression, there's ways to mitigate it. If you have allergies, there's ways to mitigate it. Grabbing the Claritin, grabbing the Zyrtec is not the way. There are other ways of doing that. If you have seasonal hair loss, there's other ways to mitigate it. There always is a solution to any and all of your problems. I guarantee you that. And again, going back to my situation with allergies, first time ever as an adult having allergies, I hope to believe it was a fluke, but if it's not, I know exactly what to do now in order to prevent it, in order to go through the whole spring without any postnasal drip, sneezing, etc. This is definitely possible. And again, it's in your control. But how are you going to get there? That's the real question, because I will say going it alone is a lot harder, trying to figure this out on your own. I will say getting that evaluation is key. And again, it's tailored to you, because once it's tailored to you, then you know exactly what you need to do. If you're trying to learn from your past behavior, from your past situation, from your past successes or failures, it'll be a lot harder to move forward because there's no other opportunity or insight for a future with hair growth, with no more cycles, with no more shedding. On the other side of hair loss, on the other side of seasonal shedding, of shedding in general, in hair growth is happiness, more hair, and vibrant health. You get to choose. You get to choose every day. And how is it that you want to live? Start thinking about that. Answer that, and then go all in. Answer that, and the answers will appear. And I will say, if there's any time to take action, it's now before it gets worse. And I say this a lot to the clients who've been following me for years, and then they finally decide to join the program. It's one of those things where, like that one ancient proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. What I've seen in my experience is that most people who currently are having the hair loss and the hair shedding, it's not going to get better. Even if you're going to try to do it on your own, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. And so this is the situation. You could either get better now and then have those future years be hair shed free, seasonal hair loss free, or you can continue to try to figure this out on your own and try to rehash the wheel and be on this constant hamster wheel, which takes a lot of energy, time, and effort on your own. So I leave you with that. Seasonal hair loss is in your control. Seasonal hair loss doesn't have to be a thing. And it's not your genetics. It's not your age. And it's not what other people, mainstream media is telling you. What it is that you can mitigate this with modifications. But again, understanding where you are right now is key. And to do that, we need that intake form. And that intake form is worth gold because it really gives clarity and it shows up for you in terms of where you've gone wrong, what needs to change, and what we can modify right now to get you on the right path. I hope this helps. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.